will be arguing that the policies barring from women in combat should be abolished. And I will first state the advantages to having women in combat. And one of the advantages are the resources, basically what they bring to the table. A lot of women in the military are female pilots and specialists and engineers. And according to Lori M. Feener, a lieutenant of the U.S., she stated that women traditionally tend to score higher on military exams, and that the military has been able to use women to raise the level of intelligence and education in the military. And smarter individuals generally are more successful in the services and make more effective combat force. So basically, smart people are needed for leadership potential. And how can women are generally, I guess, smarter according to the military exam. And how could they apply for these leadership positions if some of the combat policies bar them from applying and qualifying for those positions? And more women in combat would also lead to more power in numbers in the military force. And I want to remind the audience that we're not really efficiency should be about the best person for the job, regardless of gender. And a study by the Defense Department Advisory Committee on Women in the Services actually found that a majority of focus group participants felt that women serving in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan have a positive impact on mission accomplishment. And top defense leaders have said that they see the change coming someday. And Defense Secretary Robert Gates told the Reserve Officer Training Corps students that he expects women to serve in special operation units, the kind of commando teams known for stealth missions, and he says he expects women will eventually be allowed into special operation forces in a careful and deliberated manner. And based on the Pentagon's 2003 data, exclusion policies keep women out of 9% of Army occupations and 8% of Marine Corps occupations, compared to just 1% of Air Force jobs. And the importance of combat arm occupations in career advancements is reflected in the 2006 statistics that the Commission referenced. While infantry, armor, artillery, cavalry, and special forces make up just 7.7% of all Army career fields, 80% of Army general officers came from those occupations, according to the Commission. And women represent about 15% of active duty service members and about 18% of reserve forces, and they also account for about 10% of Iraq and Afghanistan combat veterans and 10% of all U.S. forces serving in the combat theater. So women make up a lot of the armed forces, but they're barred from going into combat and applying for positions that require that as a qualification, a leadership position. And Captain Cynthia Mosley, commander of a combat support company, states that when the action starts, every soldier does what they're trained to do. Nobody cares whether you're male or female. It's just that if you can do the job. And another advantage would be the cultural ramifications that would result from more female role models. The U.S. Department of Education showed a series of studies that showed that in countries where they expect a gap from girls and boys academically, and I guess education expects that, so the way they're taught leads to a gap. So in the United States, girls are scoring lower in math and science than boys, whereas in Turkey they're scoring relatively the same. And I will begin to refute some of the opponent's claims. My opponent claims that serving in the military is a privilege and not a right. And women are capable and perform as well in combat as seen in the war against Iraq. According to Women in the Military Combat Roles Considered by the Center for Defense Information, more than 4,000 American women served in the war against Iraq. The Marine Corps awarded 23 women the Combat Action Ribbon for service in the Persian Gulf War because they were engaged by Iraqi troops. Desert Storm was a huge turning point for women, much like Vietnam was for African Americans, and showed that modern war boundaries between combat and non-combat zones are being blurred. It makes no sense to cling to semantics, given the reality of war. And my opponent argued that women are physically inferior to men. But according to the Center for Defense Information, there are small numbers in women who are able to have the same physical strength and endurance to be soldiers. And also, even though women lack upper strength, as they stated, they're able to get the same task done in different ways and different techniques. And historically, women have fought alongside men. They have fought well. Like, when women fought in Siberian, and like, women have fought as, okay, so the policies against women in combat should be abolished.